Greetings, flesh creatures. It is I, Megatron. On behalf of TFYLP, I want to congratulate you for listening to the most refined collective podcast on this miserable little planet Earth. Yes. Here you'll find knowledgeable fans discussing every aspect of Transformers and beyond. Now, enjoy the show while I continue my path to complete conquest of all of you miserable biological entities. Predacons, terrorize!
Hi, welcome to TFYLP, episode 578. We're live tonight. It is Wednesday, May 8th. I'm Lucas. I'm joined tonight by Phil.
Sup?
And Paul.
Hello.
And Rob.
What up?
So, welcome, guys. You know, I feel like every time that we actually try to plan out and try to figure out an episode topic to do, then, like, somehow Hasbro or Takara, like, drop a bunch of news, like, right before that. Like, the couple weeks ago when, you know, we spent half the episode, we were supposed to talk about comics, but then we ended up talking about other stuff, too, so, you know. Whatever. What can you do?
This was a weird set of announcements. I barely even know what was announced. Again, I don't read Japanese or speak it. So, yeah, this was like, I'm very confused as to what's going on. Hopefully one of you guys can explain it to me.
Paul, you're on mute.
I'm just a pro. I'm really out of practice, you know. Are you guys talking about all the slew of, like, Asian reveals that came through from Takara?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm prepared because I did some. I had to understand what the hell was happening because when I saw a bunch of photos of that stuff appearing in my feeds earlier today or last night or whenever
right.
And I was like, garbage, third-party garbage. Don't care. And then suddenly, like, you know, some reputable sources for Transformers appear and it's like showing that Rodimus, and I'm like, what? Wait, that's real? Because I mean, I thought it was just like, oh, we're re-releasing the Karakuri Rodimus, right?
Right.
And then it showed an alt mode, and I was like, this is strange. You know, suddenly like everything in my worldview changed.
But there was like a new name that I hadn't seen before, so I'm thinking like, oh, this is some new third-party, you know, company.
Right.
And all the names are stupid, you know, so like nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
But I would go so far, like I said, to change my worldview, I would go so far as to say this is the first official third-party transforming toy.
Well,
to the caliber of the level that, like, I don't want to, like, have someone come in and be like, but we've had this and this. You know, like, of course, I'm generalizing, but, like, this is a new level of official product that we have not really encountered before.
You want to include Valvatron in that list?
J Balvatron?
No, Valvatron.
That didn't transform, my friend.
It transformed our hearts.
Exactly.
Well,
You could say
I was trying to figure out, so is this company, because, like, I've seen a couple different reports, and obviously it's in Japanese, so it's kind of hard to understand, but, like, was it a collaboration with Takara? Is it somehow, like, produced at all by Takara, or is it completely separate, like, that it's just being licensed by Takara? But it's, because for some reason I thought, like, looking at the news, that it was, like, essentially Takara taking the Flame Toys design, and which is based on the IDW or whatever, and creating a transforming toy out of that. Is that not the case? Like, is it designed by another, like, designer, third party, whatever, or do we not know? You're on mute again, Paul.
Amateur hour.
I'm just trying to get rid of the fuzz that's apparently going through the sound system.
It's fine.
I don't
inside your head, man, in between your ears.
I don't think anyone has the proper information yet to like answer that question properly. So I don't want to guess, but I can at least run down how I understand the toy lines quick, and then we can talk about the actual figures if you'd like.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to wild speculation.
Oh, well, I don't want to speculate. So, okay.
Rob,
First off,
Rob is over here going like, "This is all news to me. Like, what are you guys talking about?"
I caught up with it a little before this because I saw a video that was on the Takara Tomy channel that had all of these announcements strung together. So like,
right,
whether or not they're obviously heavily involved in it. It's not just simply a licensing deal that they put out for all these properties.
Well, it's definitely there's some collaboration between companies going on here.
Yeah.
Which to what level I'm not sure. But so the overarching like announcement was, hey, Takara Tomy's like, we're launching T-Spark, which I assume means Takara Tomy. That's what the T is supposed to be. So it's almost, and it seems like all the things under this that are under T-Spark, which there's sublines under that, which we'll get into, they all seem to be brands or franchises that Takara Tomy is involved with or owns. So the first one that is relevant to us, and if you go by that video, they called it like Spark 1, second Spark, third Spark. It was like just funny how they did it. So they're trying to, keep the branding going. It was this thing called Adamas Machina. And that's where the Rodimus is. And so Adamas Machina, I'm not sure what it means. I don't know if it means like super high end, like awesome stuff. It's like Masterpiece Pro, or now that Masterpiece is gone, is everything's kind of making a little more sense to me. Like they're eliminating Masterpiece and diverging, into some new territory. And I think that's where this comes in. So there's Adamas Machina Transformers and there's Adamas Machina Zoids so far. And they have different, Japan loves to do the codes and the numbers. So like it's AMT, those are the Transformer ones, and AMZ are the Zoid ones. Okay. So before we talk about the actual toys, then there's Realize Model, and all they have under that currently are Zoids. So, I don't know anything about Zoids except they're like kind of model kitty animal robot things. And then they have Toy Rise, which I don't really know what is under that. It seems like action figures or something. Then there's Project M, which is unrelated to all this stuff, and that seems to be something connected to Kojima, and is it Capcom? No, not Capcom. Konami. So I think they're doing Metal Gear Solid figures, I think. And then there's something else that's really weird, and it's Metamorverse, which is like girly, bishojo, weird stuff. Almost like those third-party, like, female Starscream jet guy characters. I don't know if those are kind of releasing right now. Anna and Catherine know exactly what I'm talking about. So all, like a bunch of toy lines within the umbrella of T-Spark seems to be being revealed. And all this stuff is going to start. Pre-orders will show up for some of this stuff in 2024, and some of it should be releasing in 2025. And that's all from watching the same video you did, Rob. And like, I didn't try to translate everything, but I'd spent some time trying to figure it out, and that's my understanding. So there we go. And if you want to talk about the actual figures, let's go.
Where was Brave under this? Because isn't Brave and Diaclone under this a bit too?
I know Brave is, and it might have been under Realize Model. It's either under the Adamas Machina or the Realize Model stuff, or the Toy Rise. I couldn't really tell you. But again, that shows like this isn't just a Transformers thing at all. It's more of a Takara Tomy, initiative. And whether I guess if anything that comes out that is branded Transformers would still have the potential to be released by Hasbro, is my guess. Speculation.
I'm wondering how much of this is this any new, like, actually permanent ongoing lines, or is this just going to be like a weird 1 year of just random lines getting unique toys, that have like 1 to 3 in the line right before they just move on to some other creative endeavor. You know, like
Well, Rob, I would say that it would be dictated by sales.
true that. But it gives me a little bit of vibes, you know, totally not the same, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It's kind of like when Hasbro tried to shove everything into the IDW comics. You know, we had Micronauts and ROM and Visionaries and whatever other garbage that no one cared about. That was all just basically trying to ride the Transformers wave into it, right?
You had that big San Diego Comic-Con box set that like sandwiched all of them together with the Jetfire repaint.
Yeah, and like again, this is quite different than that because these are totally different lines that, you know, other than like, oh, 2 of them are the Adamas Machina thing, and you know maybe Realized model might have a couple of things like. They seem pretty stylized, what we've seen. They seem, you know, very detailed and sharp points. So don't give it to your kids. But, you know, other than that, I don't know that it's necessarily, are they made to go together or are they just announcing a bunch of new launches for all their stuff and they're trying to like, I don't know how popular Zoids is compared to Transformers in not America, you know. But so it just kind of reminds me that like, oh, we're going to relaunch all of our brands in this thing that's just going to flop in a year or two and nobody's going to care.
Well, they did show that there are some plans. You know, there's lots of stuff. This seems like a 40th anniversary play. You know, maybe they're trying to use the Transformers brand to kind of jumpstart all these other things. But, you know, there's the Rodimus, which is very heavily influenced, if not like collaborated with Flame Toys to bring that to life.
Yeah, it's wild.
But the next one is Predaking. Is that right?
Oh, really? I missed that.
Yeah. It's like, what the hell is that?
It would be so great if it was just a King Toys reissue.
Right?
That
would that not be hilarious?
Yep.
Like
What
it
are you
won't
gonna
be
do?
like.
Take Toys to us?
But it's in that style of King Toys Predaking.
Right.
The Rodimus is, you know, it's shiny and pointy and jagged edges. Like it's obviously IDW Rodimus, but you know, but it's takes a lot of liberties past that too.
Well, that's where you wonder too, like where, you know, like we talk about how there's a development lead time on this stuff of like a couple years, right? So you wonder if like someone from King Toys like knew this was going to be announced and was like, oh crap, hey, let's go ahead and put out like, you know, our Predaking ahead of time, or was it something to where that Takara saw some of the sales of that and said, oh hey, like it looks like this is doing pretty well, you know, like why don't we go ahead and put out an official version?
Like, where did you see the Predaking thing at? Do you know where that came from?
It's in the video.
It is.
And what it lists the Studio Ox Predaking.
Really? Oh, so it has like the outline or whatever?
Well, they also show the Call of the Primitives like episode, like the him Predaking combining and turning into Predaking.
Okay.
So
I kind of skipped.
I mean, the fact that it's really quick, but the fact that the fact that the Rodimus does transform and is based on a, you know, licensed third-party figure, second-party figure, if you want to get really pedantic about it, makes me wonder, like, is this like MPG? Is this like the equivalent of like MPG Predaking? Like, is this going to transform too, or is this going to be just a standing figure?
It blows my mind that you know it took them so long for Raiden to come out, you know, and is it finally done or is it not even done yet? I think it's done. Isn't it? Yeah, and then the next is going to be Predaking in one of these weird lines. You know, I mean, maybe not weird. Maybe it'll look normal to us once we get to it. But it's just such a jump. Like that's just surprises me. That's where they go. You know, I mean, Predaking's popular, right? I don't know if he's Devastator popular, but he's popular.
But there's the Devastator coming out in the Studio Series line, so maybe they just like some coordination between Hasbro and Takara of like not want to step on each other's toes. And hey, who's another very prominent combiner? Well, you know, right, Predaking.
There's a new Devastator coming out.
Yeah.
Studio Series
I guess so.
86.
Oh, 86.
So I put the screenshot in the chat, so you'll see like at least their line art of what this thing will look like.
I don't
Oh,
think
man,
that's
that's-
going to be shown on the
I know.
show or anything.
I'm just for you guys. Let the peons find it themselves. They can do the work.
Man, if did they didn't have a year on that because I know a lot of that stuff they put years on. Doesn't look like this one had that.
I mean, I would imagine it's AMT02, so I assume it'll come out, after the Rodimus does. But they had a Rodimus sitting on. They had a sample of it at the whatever show this was all coming from. I'd love to see it next to the Karakiri one, because I wouldn't call it. It is like for me, it's the spitting image. Like they took that and said, "We like this. Let's make it transform." And if there's also a third-party toy out in the past few months, which is the Optimus that does transform. That I was like, "What the hell is that? How did that happen?" And it seems kind of related because they literally took the statue and made it into a transformer. And that's exactly what's happening here. And I wonder if there's some relation there or not. I don't know.
Like, to me, almost the most interesting thing here is that that's not 5 releases, or 6 releases or anything. Like, it's saying it's one release, Predaking, and I just have so many questions.
That seems like a big how much?
What's the scale? Is this thing going to transform at all? Right? Like it's going to be a Predaking like this that is little tiny ones. Like that could still be cool. Like don't get me wrong, or is this just going to be just a statue for some reason? And this line will have absolutely no consistency other than things we think are cool that may or may not transform.
It's Japan, so the likelihood of it being consistent is it's either very high or very low. There's only it's bipolar. It doesn't go in the middle. The Brave stuff is part of that Toy Rise. So, I mean, I don't know what differentiates Adamas Machina from Toy Rise, but there must be something. And if you go to the Takara Tomy website, they have a T-Spark page, and they kind of have a press release, a very limited press release for each of these brands, and they're just marketing speak, all new, incredible quality toys, for each thing. It doesn't really explain it. But also there's a collaboration with Kodo Bukiya, and I think it might be the Project M stuff. But that's also interesting. So these these companies, it's like Mattel working with Hasbro to get the Hot Wheels done. But the Japan version.
If you hit up our Discord, some of the pictures are in there. If you go back to last night, Talib dropped them in there. It was literally says, "What's this?"
Yeah.
Which is accurate question, my man.
Well, and there's other stuff that appeared in the same time frame with this show. There was a new Lyo Convoy and apparently a reissue of MPM Bumblebee, a higher redeco of that, which apparently isn't part of the MPM line. It's the 40A line, 40th anniversary line, which where what wasn't the other stuff 40th? So the consistency.
It's not Paul.
Yeah, the consistency doesn't exist. I think we're on the low end of that.
And one of the news sites said that the Lyo Convoy looks like a retool of the Legacy one. Does that track with what everybody thinks? I won't claim to know.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that. I assumed it was
that was a news post. That could have been wrong. People are guessing here. Or is it?
Right.
Is that a masterpiece repaint? We always see the line art.
Again, it looked like third-party official stuff because there's been a few weird Lyo convoys over the past few years, and I don't keep huge tabs on that, but that's TF40A.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
To me, that I see cues of it that remind me of the masterpiece one, but I'm not familiar with the Legacy one at all. But I know how, as we've talked, the main line likes to take the things that work from the masterpiece line, right? So there being similarities wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
yeah, so
it does look like the way that the mane like breaks out looks like how I'm familiar with the Masterpiece one, but it doesn't have that
That's what I
derpy
was
ass
thinking.
face.
Well, the derpy face was only on the Lion mode. The bot mode had a more robotic face on the MP.
It looks like I'm not familiar enough with those toys to know, but just it looks like it could be related. Like maybe they fixed the things that are bad about that toy, because there are definitely some flaws with that Masterpiece, in my opinion.
I just think
crumbled.
in general, this is the most
fist.
confusing press release I've ever seen. It's like a press release that's just like, what are you trying to tell me? And again, it's not in English. I get it, but there's still just like, what are you trying to say?
Well, it's getting us to talk about it, right? Isn't that the point of press release? So mission
Yeah, but
accomplished.
we're nerds. We're going to talk about this anyways.
So is it is that a mini masterpiece? Is that what we're saying?
It might literally be. We don't know.
Ron says it's more like mainline than MP, or it looks more like mainline than MP.
It's just impossible to know. Like right now, it's all just conjecture, and like sure we can put our lines in the sand, but we're likely going to be wrong. Someone's going to be wrong.
I think there are toys coming out.
So my question
They're
with this
not even
is,
toys. This is all just going to be like digital, like
It's all NFTs.
Yes, NFTs. Thank you.
Please don't.
Like McFarlane Toys does that. McFarlane Toys sells NFTs of like the designs of their toys, and there's times where I've seen something like, oh, that's a cool looking Wonder Woman. Like, oh, it's not an actual toy; it's just an NFT, and that's why it looks better than their actual toys, because it's an NFT, not an actual figure.
The world is ruined, and we don't deserve to exist on the planet anymore. That's what you
We
just
probably
said.
won't for long.
So my question with all this,
On that happy
you
note,
know, on these announcements, are you guys in or not?
I mean, I'm getting the Rodimus for sure, 100%. I didn't. I
Rodimus
wanted
is
to get the
definitely
Cara
interesting.
Curry, and I'm glad I didn't, because I want this.
Right. Well, that's what I kind of feel that way about a lot of the Flame Toys stuff. I think, you know, it's, to me, I feel like the Flame Toys was somewhat prohibitively expensive.
yes.
I always kind of felt like the 3-0 stuff that's like come out like has been a lot more moderately priced. And so like I've gotten, you know, a few of those, but like, yeah, the Flame Toys I feel like has not necessarily been worth it for me for the price or whatever, but I don't know. Paul, what do you think?
I only have a few of them, and I think there's a Starscream coming out that I'll probably have to get. But I got the Jazz and I have the Optimus, and they are just amazing build quality toys. They don't transform,
Right.
and that's fine with me. Like, this is just such an awesome Jazz. I love that they are reinterpretations too.
Right.
You know, like very Asian influenced, like robot toy, but it's definitely like got the spirit of the original. So this is like what if you had to make Generation 4 or whatever, redesign the toys again for the umpteenth time, like this would be a solid way to go. Like hyper realistic, lots of smart use of car parts, you know, around the thing. It's just, and they're just amazing. The Flame Toys and 3-0 have like the best on the market right now Transformers that don't transform.
Yeah, the Flame Toys have a very kind of Gundam aesthetic added to them. So, Paul, to your point about them being like very Asian influenced, I mean, they are designed and made in Asia, so that would make sense. But yeah, I like what you're saying, man, and I think the Flame Toys of all look cool. The only Flame Toys thing I have is their Bumblebee model kit, because the Flame Toys, like, non-transforming figures were, what was Tarn, $400?
Yeah.
So yeah, they're beautiful looking toys, I was very fortunate at a TFCon that my booth at a TFCon was literally right next to Flame Toys' booth, and so A, I got a lot of additional foot traffic because of that, and B, I got to see those things up close, and they're phenomenal looking. It's just way out of my price range, and then you add the fact that it's going to transform as well, and to me, it's just like, oh, you know, maybe I can find that on clearance one day. Probably
that's what's scary. Like that non-transforming Rodimus right now on this is Amazon, but it's $440. It's the going rate. And I've got them side by side right now. The pictures on TFW and this thing, and I mean it's not a reinterpretation. It is 100% the same design.
Really?
It is incredible. And so this thing might be like when I said super masterpiece, we might be going to like the $500 range for like a mainline release here. Or maybe not. I don't know. I just, when you compare it, you got the non-transforming version for $400. What are you going to do? The transforming one's got to be like way more parts and way more complicated, right?
Unless they're using lower quality material, because the plastic that they're using in the Flame Toys, like from what I've seen, is really, really high end plastic. A lot of like nice clear plastics, a lot of paint, all that stuff to it. You could scale back on that to save a few bucks.
I mean, I see some differences, but not much, man. Like, there's...
What differences do you see?
Like, for example...
I know it's hard without visual aids here, but...
Right.
Yeah, like the shoulder pylons, like, they look like the size of them is different. And then, like, you can see, like, the breakup in the plastic itself is different. So, like, it feels like they took the CAD image, potentially, and then, like, just re-diced it, obviously, because they had to make it transform, so it's kind of snap apart at different points. But then there's, like, on his wings, there was, like, a silver dot on the same spot on both. That's just, like, really fine-grained detail that, and the abdomen looks a little different, but it could just be because of the pictures, right? Like, they're not next to one another, right?
It's close enough.
It is so close.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to change things to transform it, but I mean, it's not like inspired by it. It is.
Oh, no. It is way more than that. Yeah.
The
hands are different. The hands are different.
Well, yeah. They're definitely, it's a new mold for sure.
Yeah.
But like they sourced it from
so much of it isn't.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, this thing should be awesome.
Like I messed with the Tarn Flame Toys at a convention. Like they saw me, like I was scoping it, keeping my distance, right? And they were like, "Oh, pick it up!" And obviously tried to push a sale, right? But I was just so impressed with how awesome that thing was, and like it's such a great action figure, and like it does all the cool stuff. Like when you bend the joints and stuff, it has all the articulation, and it never destroys the sculpt. It's not like you get the empty knee, right, or anything. Like no, like it all is there. It's really cool stuff, and like having one that transforms and is from Takara makes me very interested in it. Whereas
right,
I don't know where it would fit, right? Because it's so out of style with the MMC IDW line, but I like cool toys, right?
Well, I wonder if they're talking with. Obviously, they have a relationship with Takara Tomy and 3-0 Flame Toys and Hasbro have a relationship, and maybe like Takara talked to their partner and was like, "You guys are selling a lot of these. We like them. Let's see can we take this to the next level with you guys?" Because the deal with Hasbro and Takara, like I've talked to Aaron Arch about this. I've seen, this has been talked about in the ether many times. But like when they license out Transformers, the deal is it can't transform, and that's a stipulation from Takara Tomy. But this is a Takara Tomy backed thing, so that they might have the control over transformation as like their magic piece of the sauce, And so, and I'm sure Hasbro will have the ability to sell this like they do all the other Japanese led things. So maybe it's a positive, reaction to what one of their licensors, sales are looking like. I
what
believe
the hell
that
is that
market.
Predaking?
Well, I believe that story as market research for the larger company more than like, oh, third parties doing free market research for them. I don't think they're paying attention.
Oh, I think
Maybe
they
they
pay
should have
attention.
sometimes.
I was
It
gonna
should
say
have, but
I'm sure they pay attention somewhat to it, but
Like-
like I do wonder some of the masterpiece stuff, right? If they've been developing some of that, and either A, they can't get the licenses that they want for the price that they want, like when we talked about this in the show before, or B, that they release some of this stuff like the Bumblebee and whatever, and they're just like, dude, screw this, like we can't get the animation accurate like in both modes and have it like transform right and not look like a mess, because like I feel like just some of the masterpiece stuff that Takara's released over the last couple of years have been kind of a little bit of a mess, like like the Raiden, I know that we all complained about, or I haven't bought any of them, but you guys did, and the Bumblebee kind of was the same way, where it's just I don't know, like that revamped Masterpiece Bumblebee was not. I don't feel like it hit the mark.
I feel like they hit more than they miss by far. But they obviously changed factories at some point, and we have suffered some quality. Like Hound is amazing, I think, but he has obvious quality issues. There's around. Like I thought Leo Convoy was cool, but as I said, like my hand crumbled when I messed with it maybe a year ago. It's just the plastic is just brittle. It turns out. But like I still think up until then they were putting out awesome designs. Other than, I mean, I still love how we did a show about it. I still love how the Bumblebee looks. Like I get the complaints; they're valid, but I'm still pretty down with it. But like RC is the only one that really made me angry. It's just not cartoon accurate at all. But
I still feel like when we sat there and did our like end of masterpiece run, and we named off all the your favorite masterpiece over the years, like no one said no one said anything from like the last few years. It's all been like stuff that was earlier than that. So I feel like that they kind of like just lost a little bit of the
I think it's the impact. I think it's just you get the impacts early, and then after that you expect it because the bar's been raised. Yeah. And because like I think Prime is awesome. I have a couple of quality complaints about it though. But like I think it's awesome. I think the Starscream's awesome. I think the Jetfire is really cool. Yeah. So like I can go through them. It was just they weren't as impactful because the bar had already been set.
That could be too.
Which like if this AMT line
they raised the bar this time.
Yeah, like if it goes for another 30 figures, for if it just wildly successful, like we'll probably talk about how crazy the Rodimus is because it's a game changer for what Takara's doing. But the next several might be awesome as well. But if they're just at the bar, it's a less impact.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what is not impactful is this terrible looking fucking Bingo Sports movie Prime race car. God, that is the dumbest thing. And if the only reason it'll get any sales is because it's an Optimus Prime toy.
Dude, 5-10 years from now, that's going to be a very valuable toy.
Because they sold 8 of them.
Well, because no one wanted it. And then new kids of the fandom are going to be like, oh man, race car Optimus Prime? Man, I need to find that at the new TFYLP event that I go to virtually. Because I live in VR now. I just see that as like those oddities. Always, you wish you got them. Like the frog Starscream, the little frog Starscream is like $600 now.
Like, are you talking about this one? This thing?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
What I think is funny is Christian was saying that he actually thought it looked cool and that he was thinking about getting it. So there you go.
It's a real car. Like that is a real car that is racing.
I mean,
insane.
Alternity stuff hasn't really held its value. At least that I'm just looking at the Convoy toys right now, like $80, $90. Like I'm not saying they're cheap, but I don't think that's too crazy far. Maybe that's double, You know, it's not like they're $400.
Well,
I
I
don't know.
don't think that.
The
I don't think that
Starscream
fits.
may be more.
Yeah, it is, but I don't think those toys really fit the bill. This is like one of those one-off weirdo things.
Hmm.
And
Not that Alternity went deep. They did like 3 characters.
and they had like 1 molt.
Yeah.
2.
I mean, we had 2.
3. They got the Suzuki's.
Got that Halloween Megatron, which is a weird toy.
Like this
That
would
was
be
my
to
first
me,
TF
I don't
Source
know,
review.
slightly different because it is a car, but like you had like the baseball hat Optimus Primes and the shoe Optimus Primes. This feels more akin to that. I don't know how much those things go for. I don't really give a darn.
Well, it's not a line. It's like a one-off special thing. It's kind of
Right.
like Bump of Chicken Bumblebee. You know, that would be a good comparison, I'd say.
Yeah.
I understand that a lot more than this stupid bingo sports car. So I would take Bump of Chicken over this god awful ugly thing. And that's like, I don't know. That's like, was it Dark of the Moon or one of the like
I think
movie
it's Age
4 or
of
5
Extinction.
style? Yeah. It's like an Age of Extinction Prime at that. Like
Well,
one of
what's
the
his name?
worst
Crosshairs,
ones.
right? This
Yeah,
is like
it's
Trench
Crosshairs.
Coat Mafia Optimus Prime.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it looks kind of like that.
It's just weird. I mean, I just feel like if you're on the fence, I would just say get it. If you just abhor it, yeah, you can skip this kind of crap.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
this
it'll
might
probably be hard to find later.
Yeah, it will. It definitely will be because it'll appeal to a different audience than the regular Transformer fan.
It'll be hard to find because everyone who bought it just burned it because it just, just their eyes. They couldn't handle the colors.
They bought it just to smash it for a YouTube video.
There you
That's
go.
it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go viral, bro.
Just pneumatic presses crushing Bingo Prime.
What do people think about the new pictures of Jinrai?
I mean, it looks good in the bot mode. That combined bot mode looks good, but I mean, I think that was our sentiment from the start. Is like it looks kind of decent, and then it's like that truck mode is like, what the F is this?
I thought the truck mode looked better with all the guns and crap attached because it hides how stupid the arms are. Like it literally does.
That, yeah.
They have a grayscale picture of it.
Okay.
It's literally you're seeing a picture of a picture. Like they didn't have it there. They just had a picture of it. But like it's got all the guns mounted on top and the big side cannons. And so like that's like the big complaint about the truck mode, right? And like it at least hides that, ignorance is bliss and all. And who's going to leave it in truck mode? You put it in that and fiddle with it. Because of this toy, I feel like getting out my God Jinrai, and I broke it. And that was the reissue. His feet on the Interbot, the Inner Prime, like how the feet are like one big flat tab that fold up. Something in there just got stuck and just so. It's okay. It still functions, but
yeah, I'll still fold up to make the big God mode.
Yep.
But yeah, I do. I mean, I've got the original release of just Power Master Optimus Prime, and I do remember that flipping that feet thing always just felt a little bit like.
And this is the reissue from like early 2000s. So like, I wonder how the G1 one is, right? Which
got mine in a bin, and now I'm scared to touch it.
So yeah, so just remind me next time we're at a convention that if y'all see like a junker, just the inner core robot, I might pick it up and do some surgery, like take apart the legs and try to swap some stuff out. But I think it looks pretty good. It looks like it's a painted sample though, like a hand painted sample, but maybe it's not. It's hard to tell on those things.
No, each toy is going to be hand painted.
I like that it has clear windows. I just noticed that for the first time.
Yeah, both the inner and both modes. Or like the little robot, his chest looks like it's clear too. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it looks promising. Let's say that. I would say my faith is a little bit reinstated from these images. I'd still love to see it next to some things because that's really kind of the last gotcha. Is like, how big is it really? And if you, there is a photo that shows like all the toys lined up, so you can see it like kind of compared to the Missing Link mini-bots and the NPM Bumblebee. And I mean,
I think
it seems the right size. It seems good.
Because like, some people did that when they showed it with the next to the G1 toy as well, and like I think it's going to pair pretty well with Victory Saber, or sorry, Star Saber. Now and then maybe with the God Bomber stuff, it'll compare more towards Victory Saber, which you can only make with the KFC toy, Victory Leo from KFC. But like that's really what I wanted to scale with, and I was really worried it'd be small, but I think I'm feeling all right now that it's going to be pretty good.
Well, Rob, do you already have a Genrai? Like, did you get the Fans Hobby one?
No, it was too off model, and KFC announced theirs a billion years ago, so I was like, oh, there's something better coming, and all they've done is put out a trailer that I didn't buy because I wanted to wait till it was all out to see how it was, and now I don't know that I will buy it. They've stalled on it so long.
Right.
It's huge, though. I can tell you that it is definitely not too small.
Now, can you guys remind me, MP60 is going to be the inner bot, and MPG, 8 or 9 will be just the trailer, or is that the trailer and the inner bot?
It's the full thing in cartoon deco in MPG.
Okay.
MP60 is just the inner bot in toy deco, but the MPG cartoon version will come with stickers to make it the toy version. So if you want the toy mode, you got to buy both.
But if you just want to own that toy, both components, you can buy the MPG in your set. You don't have to buy.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the same. It correlates to how the Missing Link Convoy came out with the two versions, one with the trailer, one without. Same deal.
Gotcha.
I think they're probably trying to emulate that, as like consistency again, just like Missing Link, Cliff, and Bumble.
About to say, speaking of Missing Link.
Yeah, so we did a whole show on Missing Link, and we didn't have Paul involved. Yet somehow you've been like singing the praises of Missing Link for so long, ever since they announced this. From the first time. So Paul, like, first off, like, what are your thoughts on Missing Link Prime? Are you a fan?
Yeah, it's the greatest toy of all time. It is awesome. If you don't have it, you're missing out. It's your fantasy as a kid in real form.
Don't miss out on Missing Link.
And I mean, all the other toy lines have gotten this in the past few years. The Turtles, the He-Man figures, G.I. Joe now has 6-inch toys. Transformers was like the last to the party, but they're doing it really, really good.
Honestly, I would say Ninja Turtles is the last to the party because we don't have updated versions of the G1 stuff. They actually announced it not that long ago. Like,
you don't think Super 7 qualifies as that?
I mean, those are completely brand new figures. This is taking literally the original toy and just putting some articulation and stuff in it. Super 7 is a whole new thing.
Shredder can finally stand up. He'll be tall now. Is that what you're saying?
They just showed the Turtles. And it's kind of like one of those, like, you surprise people can make photos this bad quality anymore. It's like grainy or whatever, and their skin looks textured and whatnot. But when I saw the Link Bee and Cliff Jumper, it reminded me of the old Impossible Toys stuff, which I have their Wasp version. And obviously what they're doing there is better. Because, like, this is just some ball joints, here and there, which they have like this, it looks like a disc-shaped elbow to keep it in there almost, but I could be wrong. Like, I'm trying to.
Well, they have like
together.
They gave the mini bots a butterfly joint and like a shoulder joint. It's kind of uncanny, like how good this looked. Because like what I imagined if they ever did the mini bots, because I know we all were like, what are they gonna do next, right? And like this was definitely on the table for that, but I was like, that might not look good. Like, that might be really stupid. And it is a little goofy. It is a little goofy, but the more I look at it, the more I'm like, yeah, I want that really, really bad.
And pre-orders are up for it now. I haven't found
price is high.
I was about to say, like, I haven't found a place that was cheap. Like, even on Amazon Japan with shipping, you're looking at like over $50 each at current exchange rates.
Well, I feel like the shipping's kind of what kills it. So that's why I'm curious what it'll be up on Pulse for. Like, is it going to be 50 or is it going to be, less on that?
I'd pay like 35 for each of these. Would feel about right. 50 feels.
It seems like they should have been 50 for both. That's what I've seen that a lot, and I have to agree. I was shocked when I saw like the initial prices were like $50. I was like,
yeah,
seriously, these are mini bots. What are you talking about?
Well, Prime was like original retail was like 60 or 65. The one without the trailer in Japan. So I was like, come on, guys, like this is bullshit. And I'm all about overpaying for toys, but this is I had to take a pass.
To be fair, I kind of feel like the like the 3A figures, right? Like the Optimus Prime when they first released them, if I remember correctly, was like a pretty decent deal. And then I feel like every subsequent toy, they've kind of increased the price just a little bit. And like, none of it's really that bad. But like I feel like the price of the B is not that much cheaper than the Prime in that line. And I mean, the scale on these is smaller. But
yeah.
I mean, the truth is, this is going to be a mini bot size thing. This would be, and it's cool as hell, and I'm super excited about it. But there's no reason this isn't like a $15 toy at Walmart.
Right.
Probably like, more interesting packaging, but like, give me a break, man. Like I agree. This is 100%. Collectors will pay it or they won't own it. Like, and so, and like, I buy so little from Takara or official product. Like, I'll just pay whatever the hell it is after I do a little shopping and try to find out, what's the most affordable way to get it in the States. But
like, I've got in my hands right now the leader class Sandstorm that just came out and one of the reissue Bumblebee mini bots. And these toys are going to be about the same price. And I get that the missing link Bumblebee will have a lot more articulation and more engineering that went into it. But for these two toys, essentially the same size things to be the same price feels like, all right, listen, I know you're trying to get me on my nostalgia hit, but that's a little much for just the nostalgia.
Yeah, it's hard to justify for sure. However, one thing that I have been thinking about, and they're not $50. If you get it from Japan, it's going to be about $50. Because just no matter if the thing is this big in 3 pounds or this big in like 1 ounce, it's going to still cost you like $15 minimum to get it over the ocean. All right.
But like,
so
say you're in Japan and you live in Japan and you went to a collectible store in Japan, how much would that cost you then?
I think it was around 35, like straight up, something like that, I thought.
So that feels a lot better. That feels more worth it.
Trying to see if I can. I'm looking it back up.
Let me see if I can find my file on it.
Of course, then you're saying it's going to be the same price as the Voyager, but yeah.
Yeah, it's $36 on Amazon Japan with current currency conversions. If you didn't have to pay like tax and shipping and stuff.
Yeah.
Which for a collector's item, I can get over it, but
right.
And hopefully it come in a box and not a blister card.
Yeah.
I think it'll be. They already showed the artwork, so I think it's going to be like the Japanese release of the mini bots, which were in those little boxes, which would be really cool. That would be awesome. Really neat. And it would probably have styrofoam again, So like, there you go. There's an extra cost. But I gotta say, what has got me like, you know what? I'll pay it, But I think they're more around. I think you'll be able to get these for around $30. But like the build quality on this guy is impeccable. Like they did not skimp or use bad quality control or bad plastic or anything. This is a solid release that holds all its poses and all the tolerances are amazing. And if these mini bots have the same build quality as this, I think it's, there's something to be said for that. Yeah, you can. I think you have to get over the fact that like you might have to pay for better quality stuff, and that's if this keeps that quality, I think the extra $5-10 is justified. Plus the re-engineering costs, this is all new. They didn't just take the old mold and be like, Sweet.
Yeah, but it's one of those. This still has no more complexity or parts than a $15 toy from Walmart, or even like a $25 deluxe. It has less, and I suspect the quality will be around the same, which is to say totally fine, like totally good, right? And but yeah, like an extra $5-10 for the cooler packaging and the nostalgia hit, like I'm okay with. 50 is where it's like, what are you talking about? Yeah. So hopefully when we see the Hasbro Pulse price or the big bad price or whatever from a Hasbro version or something, that'll be more what we would expect.
I do think that one thing that I laugh at with both of these is because they're being slavish to the toy design, you have like proportional stuff that just gets like more sort of in your face. And specifically to me, it is the fact that his knee joint just goes like right into the foot. It just goes from like knee to foot. And I get that that's how the G1 toy is, but like it's because you didn't have a knee in there to bend. But this just like, all right, maybe you just say he's wearing like a giant boot, like Rodimus style or whatever, but it's just like knee to foot. That's it.
I mean, they could have done what Impossible Toys did. They gave them knees.
Yeah.
And so much as they have them.
The silhouette of that toy looks like shit though.
Right. No,
like
I agree.
it looks like a clown toy. Like I hated those things because they tried to do this, but they didn't successfully pull it off. Like from an aesthetic standpoint, from a functional one, yes, they did. And I knew everyone's going to make the comparison here. I'm actually glad that they didn't extend the legs or anything and kept it how it was, because it kind of does.
It keeps the same silhouette.
It looks like the box art, which was goofy,
right.
And you can do the pose, and they're leaning into that like big time.
I'm disappointed in the fact that there's only the toy heads, that they don't have the cartoon heads, and like I think that this is a milking tactic because I think they know people want the cartoon heads, and so they're going to put the toy versions out, get you to buy them, and then later do the toy ones to get you to buy it again.
I don't know. I mean, these are like, to me, I didn't get the animation version of Optimus Prime, and I feel like it doesn't look like the animation. It looks like the toys. So like, why do I want the stuff that looks like the animation? So, I mean, I somewhat agree that I'm not a huge fan of those heads, but it is accurate to the toy.
Like, it totally makes sense for this to go with the toy looking stuff. Like it absolutely does. It just, to me, I think they're doing it like very strategically, knowing that they're going to do a cartoon version instead of doing like the others and putting both stuffs out at once. But then again, they didn't put out a trailer version for both for Prime, which was kind of not consumer friendly either. So
they also didn't call this the toy version of Cliff or B.
Yeah.
So that's annoying. So if they do it, they'll be like, they made the distinction with the Prime, and now they're already deviating from that.
How did they number the Primes?
They're just sequential. CO1, CO2, this is CO3, and CO4.
So what if they do cartoon heads later, and they're CO3 plus and CO4 plus, not 5 and 6?
Then I would just, cut one of my fingers off, I guess, just to deal with the pain. You can only do that so many times.
You do have the most recent reissue of Bumblebee. This is Walmart version that came with a cartoon head. So this is something that does exist out there. So they can do it. I think that's one of the reasons why I kind of like Cliff Jumper a little bit more, because Cliff Jumper's toy head looks a little closer to the animation head. Obviously it's not exactly, but it's closer. And I do like that he comes with the toy bazooka. The cartoon bazooka.
I mean, that's a chef's kiss right there.
Yeah.
It's almost silly that they did it, but it looks, it adds a lot of life to that release.
Yeah.
Like, I'm super excited for these two. I really am. As soon as I saw them, I was super happy. And, which of course, brings back, not to rehash our conversation, but knowing now that this is going to be more than just Prime, and they're going to be looking at what can we do next. I think Soundwave's going to be soon. That's where that's who I feel is next, and maybe even some tweaks on the cassettes.
Yeah.
The Seekers would be real interesting because they're just
hard.
there's such parts formers to begin with. What do you do
Mhm.
with those things?
Well, I think
have no
that's
idea.
that's the challenge. That's the challenge.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this the other day after seeing Bumblebee. Like I rethought, like, oh man, they really do need to do the Seeker and just everything. It's one figure.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: when you have a Seeker,
The silhouette needs to be the same, but it'd have to be almost a whole new design.
oh, I mean, they kind of solved this a few times with classics and the new Earthrise one, and even going back to Robot Masters. That was the first one where it was like, oh my god, they did it, because that toy, although it was not the same, as the G1 Seeker, it had all the cues and it had no parts other than the lasers. And I think that would be the challenge with the Seekers, is just make a fully integrated toy that doesn't have all these parts that fall off. Because if you look at like Transformer Land, where they separate, you have a figure and then you have all the accessories or the parts.
Yeah.
Well, the figure of any of the Seekers is just that stupid ass no winged, dildo bot. That sucks. So and then it's like, and then it's all parts. It's all like 15 parts per figure that all get lost. So if they do the Seeker, that's what they gotta do. I'd be so pissed if even the wings come off.
That's
Sergio
why.
mentioned, like, why not do Grimlock? And I think Grimlock would be like a decent candidate in terms of popularity.
Yeah.
Because, like, Grimlock's
Yeah.
90% there as it is. Like, he can extend his hips for the transformation. He's got
Has
the
knees-ish.
knee articulation. Kind
Ratchet those
not
shoulders.
Yeah.
Like there's
I mean,
definitely
it's just
improvement there, but it's not that difficult. And that's how I
Right.
kind of felt about Soundwave. Like Soundwave is much easier to do something than Starscream, which is why the only reason I think they would put off Starscream is just because they're like, oh man, we're gonna have to do so much more work versus a Grimlock or a Soundwave.
Mhm.
It'd be cool if Grimlock, if they made the T-Rex articulate a little bit, like he could turn his head and stuff.
Yeah.
Like maybe even
that
put
would be interesting.
like a waist swivel on the dinosaur. That would be so rad.
Yeah.
Whatever. Now we're dreaming.
Yeah.
I think the first one that they'll do when they go into the D section, that'll be that's how they'll do the Decepticons, like DO1, DO2. My prediction is DO1 is Toy Edition Megatron with all the Uncle stuff, all the other bits, and the cartoon one will be the single, like in Japan, how they released it in Japan, which was just the gun. And maybe they'll include the scope, because they didn't include the arm cannon scope. They just had that sword.
I wonder if they'll include the sword and stuff as well. Because like we got it. I think they'd have to give us the Energon maze because we got the axe for Prime. So I don't know, man.
I just think that
I'm
they
so
would
excited.
go big for and go with
I just want to see
Megatron.
it. I just want to see what all they do.
I want this line to go on forever. I want Masterpiece's Sacrifice to be Missing Link's, boom that made it come to life.
I mean, I'm in the minority so far because, like, I messed around with your Missing Link Prime at DairyCon. I was like, meh. I don't know.
So when are we booting Phil from the show
Right.
and like banning him? Is that now? Is that happening right now? I think.
I wouldn't use a
Now,
emotional
Phil,
moment at Dairy.
when you messed around with that, did you also see the box and everything?
No.
Because I feel like that's the whole thing. Is you get the package, you open it up, you take it out of the styrofoam. You got the like little thing with the stickers and the instruction sheet, and I don't know. It's just a whole package. And
The experience.
I was not expecting that, whenever I opened that up initially. But yeah, like, I don't know. All that stuff is super duper cool. Like, I mean, again, like, this is one of my favorite figures that they've released for a while. I don't know.
Lucas, I'm ready for you to say, like, I started to weep.
Oh, no. Not
Just
quite.
tears of unbridled joy.
Not quite. So,
I mean, overall, I feel like there was a lot of winners from the stuff they announced. Like, I don't care about the NPM Bumblebee, but it looks really nice. That is a really cool
Yeah.
deco they put on it. The Sports Bingo, I think, is a flop, but that's, whatever. The Hot Rod looks hella cool. I don't know if I have a spot for it or not, but if it comes out at $400 or $500, I'll probably pass on it. But if it's something lower than that, I'll be very tempted. And then I think the Genrai picks look good, and the Missing Link stuff looks good. Lyle Convoy, I don't know enough about what that is. I'll probably be passing on it regardless, but like, there's a bunch of good stuff.
Do you not have a Lost Light like display?
Yeah, I do, but it's got MMC Rodimus that fits much more aesthetically than with that thing. That thing just looks like a cool ass toy that's like, it just stands out because it looks awesome.
But see, that's the thing. I feel like that Missing Link Optimus is kind of the same thing as this Rodimus, to where I feel like it's cool enough that it can just stand on its own, and it's enough of a like cool main character that like if I only got that you could deal with that being like the only thing that you got. Or you could go back and buy some of the Flame Toys stuff, Rob, and then you can have stuff that aesthetically goes with it.
Well,
Rob, you did say you've got room in your toy budget.
Right? Yeah. You keep talking about how you have room in your budget, Rob, so there you go.
I do, but I still care how it's spent.
Lame.
The money doesn't need to be spent. It can gain interest.
I dropped.
You call yourself a true collector.
I dropped the image I made. I mean, I think y'all saw it in our Facebook group, potentially, with how I felt after I saw the Missing Link be in Prime with Andy from Toy Story. I don't want to play with you anymore. Dropping the G1s, you know. Yeah.
Well, I've been saying that Missing Link spells the end for the G1 reissue. You just don't need them anymore.
No, I agree with that.
I don't want them anymore. Like the TF movie stuff that is being released, at Walmart, and like the 40th anniversary stuff, they decided to rebrand it for some unknown reason, but like those are great. Those are a great send off, in my opinion, for the G1 reissues. But spend the time and try to get me to buy more of these than the same old crap, please.
Like magenta hot rod with articulation.
That'd be Plague dope. Hot rod. Wait, that'd be Rasmus. Never mind.
Jeez.
There's just I mean, you talk about, when they they do Generations, and then they do Combiner Wars and that whole Prime War stuff, and then redo it all again for Legacy or Siege or War for Cybertron. They can keep doing that forever, but like they can do it again with instead of like they can just do every single G1 toy like this. They can do it over the course of a decade.
Except Galvatron, because he's already super articulated. He is. He's very articulated.
He's got those forearms, those like huge forearms.
I mean, he can put his arms out. I mean, he has, I think, like literally the most articulation points of any G1 figure. I'm not making a joke. Kind of cheating with the neck, but yeah, but like he has a surprising amount. I'm telling you, he's just chonky, you know. How did you guys feel about it?
What's that?
Like overall, how did you guys feel about all these reveals? I said how I kind of felt overall about them all. Like, did y'all feel the same, or y'all more meh?
You care about our feelings, Rob? Now that you've gotten yours out of the way for the last 10 minutes.
I was starting the conversation, assuming y'all would pick up on it, and when you didn't, now I'm giving you the prompt so that you are included.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like for me, I'm probably in on the Missing Link. Like, I just really, I really like the Prime, so I'll probably be in on these even if they're like a little more expensive. The Rodimus, like, I want to get it, but I'm kind of waiting on the price first. Like you said, I don't know. I'm not sure that I can spend more than a couple $100. Like, as cool as it looks, like I kind of feel like I'm out on multi-$100 figures anymore. But if they come out and it's like $200, $250, like, okay, sure, like I'll get it. And the same, like the Predaking, kind of excited for that too, like, because I'd like to have a nice updated version of Predaking, especially since they haven't really mentioned one in Studio Series or whatever. So I don't know. So yeah, like I'm cautiously optimistic, but at the same time I'm not sure that my like toy budget anymore. Like, that I have the budget for those higher end stuff.
I just look at so much of what we've seen over the last 24 hours, aside from the missing link, and even that it still has a big question mark attached to it. Like, what's going to be the price point on the missing link? What's going to be the price point on Rodimus? Like, what does this Predaking actually look like? What is it going to be? And again, what's the price point? Like, I'm excited for more Zoid stuff. I really like Zoids as a property. I like the designs. I like the builds. That could be a lot of fun too. Like, the Brave stuff has me very curious. But it's just like, again, like I said earlier, this is just like a press release that like gave us like one figure and a whole bunch of words and some line art. Like we've gotten more details from leak lists, I feel like, than we did with this.
Well, the Rodimus is coming this summer, or the Hot Rod, the AMT-01. So at least that we'll have in hand pretty soon.
I mean, Ron did mention that there's going to be a live stream for Pulse coming up, I think, next week, he said. So maybe we will get some more more information from the American side of this on some of the stuff.
I doubt it.
I don't know. I think it's too early.
They don't spend time on Takara Tomy product in those things. They just like release it on Pulse, and they're like, surprise. But we will know
after you pre-ordered it.
We will know before the end of the month because the pre-order deadline is May 30th on the missing link stuff at least. So okay. it'll be up on Pulse before that. But I think the Rodimus is going to be expensive. Like I think it's going to be a new tier, like level of like quality that they're trying.
You think it'll be over 500?
I think it could be. I hope it isn't. But it could be. And if it is, I don't think it's going to probably do super well. So they might not be like hey, here's a ton of machina stuff. Or, I don't know. But, I mean, but it could be it could be cheaper to produce somehow than the Flame Toys one because they cut some corners. That would, that'd be great.
Or maybe just they're producing at a higher number. Yeah.
We'll see. But I feel pretty good about all this stuff. I didn't see anything that really made me go, ugh, except maybe that Lyle Convoy thing. I just don't know. I don't care about Lyle Convoy, so I don't really have. I'm never going to be wowed by that. I'm in for everything missing link until. I'm sure they'll make a mistake somewhere along the line. Like they'll make a toy that kind of sucks, but these mini bots look great. They look like a perfect companion. They're just sort of expensive, and the fact that they are sort of expensive also leads me to think that Rodimus is going to be on the uptick and not the other direction. So look out. Yeah, Jinride looks okay.
You're definitely not going to find that Hot Rod at Big Lots anytime soon, or on Ross for discount. So
or in America,
or in America, yeah.
Canadian exclusive.
So I do have a question. I know Zaldron said, look at these fools not talking about today being the 40th anniversary. What is the 40th anniversary of? Like, because I thought the cartoon didn't come out till September.
The toy line come out first? I don't know.
I don't know. That's what I was trying to figure out. Like, but the toy line, there's not like... I mean, I'm sure that back in whatever, like, was that the first sighting at a Walmart or something of a Transformer or what?
I assume he just means the year or something. Is just.
Yeah, I mean, well, we talked about it being 40th anniversary overall. So I don't know. Well, I know there's. So when are they doing the release of the G1 cartoon in theaters? Is that coming up pretty soon? So I know I saw, like, I think Cinemark is releasing, like, a popcorn bucket or something.
Yeah, and let me just say, that popcorn bucket has a lot of work to do if it wants me to get turned on by it.
Okay, I figured out the answer to this.
Okay, what is it?
In 1984, on May 8th, Transformers #1 hits newsstands with a cover date of September, according to the wiki. Very first Transformers product made available.
Okay. Okay.
So number
there's-
one in a 4-issue limited series
Mhm.
Yeah.
that ran for 80.
Covered by Bill Sienkiewicz.
Well, there we go. Okay. Got it.
Like, has there ever been like a discussion of like who that dude is on the cover? Because that's like a very specific. Like, he used a real person as a model for that, and it's just like he shows up at cons. I should ask him one day at a cons. Like, is this like your dad, like your uncle or something, or just like, hey, he was a guy in like the most recent catalog I got that I just used his face.
Oh,
It's a really good mystery. I don't know. I wonder if the wiki says anything about that.
Yeah.
regarding the movie, it says taking place on May 15th and the weekend of May 18th, 19th is when they're doing some throwback for the Transformers stuff on the big screen. This is saying though
yeah.
it's actually like
What
some
the frick?
episodes.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, I
that's
think the first
so,
3 episodes.
I thought it was 5. Is it 3?
This is saying a package of 4 plus a pilot or something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, the pilot plus the 4 episodes. But yeah, so it that's coming out locally to the theaters, Rob, if you don't have your tickets already.
Probably not gonna go, but
All right.
because obviously I hate myself.
Who doesn't?
I mean,
Not
I
you,
don't know.
just-
I don't know that
Oh,
we
that's
have another way to watch the first 4 episodes of the cartoon if we don't go to the theaters, right?
It's the only option. No other media exists or methods. But
I
still, I
mean,
mean, I don't know. That's
It
cool,
will be fun. to
Granted,
get
Transformers
together.
1 will be the first time Transformers has ever been animated.
right? And in the theater, no less. That's
Right.
the first. Like, if I had local Transformer friends to go with, I would go. But
Right.
going the other Transformer people that I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I end up finding a crew or something like that, I'd be more interested.
Just
Oh
drive up to
yeah.
Chicago.
So I know in the chat that they're mentioning too. I totally forgot about this, that they're doing a script reading of I guess like is it more than ECI? I guess. Like because didn't
Interesting.
yeah, because I don't know if you remember, because Frank is actually Tadaro's doing it with, or did it with Berger and Welker and Cullen and all that.
Friend of the show, Frank Tadaro.
Yep.
That's
I
cool.
don't know if he's ever appeared or done anything for the show, but we're friends with him, so we'll say that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
As we get a
we
letter
could,
from his
we could
lawyer.
ask Frank on at some point. I guess I could do that.
Dude, he's getting too
But-
big time for us. And like, and when I say getting, he's probably already too big time for us. And probably was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
We're just plebs.
Yeah.
We're just here to
Yeah.
laugh at how all of his toys have floppy joints. That's about it.
We're gonna have to do like $200 for a 3-minute cameo from him in order to get him to appear in an episode.
Right.
I have to bring Fire the Patreon back up just
There
to
you
get him
go.
back.
Right, there you go. It's like support us, get Frank on the show. So no, I'm sure we could probably ask him, but so I'm trying to think what other news. Is there any other news this week? Obviously, this is gonna be a live stream of Transformers next week, right?
A German website has started releasing the titles for Earthspark Season 2 episodes, which was nice to see, like any just Earthspark Season 2 news, because that's kind of been out in limbo there for a while. We were like told we were going to get another season, but sometimes you get that announcement and then like 6 months later, it's like, we were kidding. We're not going to do it anymore.
Right.
But yeah, it definitely sounds like we're getting new Earthspark episodes fairly soon.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
So I think that's about it. I hate to wrap while Paul had to step out, but
Right. Paul
I
come
mean,
back
if
and be
we
like,
want
wait,
to,
are
if
we
we want to
still?
stall for Paul to come back, we've seen in-hand images of Party. Is it Party Wagon?
Party Wallop.
Party Wallop. Thank you. I knew I was wrong with Party Wagon. Party Wallop, the Ninja Turtle crossover, and it's cool packaging. The toy looks maybe a little smaller than I was thinking it was going to be, but for the price, that kind of makes sense. We were all shocked that it was only $40.
So, Rob,
Oh.
how many copies do you have pre-ordered?
Just the one. I'm good with one. I think it's like Phil and I actually were talking about it the other day. Like, I'm very excited for a transforming party wagon, but honestly, I think it looks terrible. Like, just being real, I think it looks to me like it was obviously designed by somebody that doesn't design Transformers. You know, kind of like a lot of especially the early Titanium line that transformed. You know, that they weren't designed by the typical designers, or the Marvel crossover line that we had way back 15 years ago.
Right.
Obviously not Transformer designers. That's how that thing looks. I'm buying it anyways. I think was priced more than it should be for what I think the size looks like. But again, whatever. I'm just going to buy it. But I think it's super cool that it comes with all the gear to make all 4 turtles. You know, depending on what you want, instead of like locking you into having to buy 4 separate releases or any of that crap. They're like, just throw the accessories in there and let people go. So I thought that was really cool of them, even though I still think it looks bad, yet I'm excited.
People are still buying 4 or 5 at a time. I've seen that.
Right.
Yeah, it's still going to happen.
Yeah, because technically it's a brand new 5th character as well as the 4 turtles.
Party Wallop. Are they really Raphael and Leonardo and whatnot? Or is it just Party Wallop wearing their corpse, their head, you know, like getting kind of gross and taking their weapons out of their graves to use them?
It's like the last Ronin, but like even worse.
Yeah, even worse.
Well, all right, Paul. Any last words from you before we wrap? We were waiting for you to come back.
Oh, we're wrapping early.
Yeah,
wow, good job.
We're going to wrap early, unless you have something else that you need to discuss.
To derail us for another hour.
Right.
No.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure I could come up with something, but let's pack it in.
Fair enough.
Missing
All
link.
Right.
My new motto: missing link or it stink. So, goodbye, G1 reissues. I won't miss you.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you guys. I don't know. What I was gonna say, Zaldra never posted anything about what book club's doing this week, so I guess I'm sure that everyone can go to the TF Talk Discord and find out directly from him, like whatever cartoon that they're gonna, or not cartoon. I'm sorry, whatever comic they're gonna read this week. So, I'm assuming it's the Transformers IDW reboot, but so.
Yeah, I don't know what they've been reading lately.
I think it's
the
still
IDW
reboot, as far as I know. Yeah.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
We're,
Have you
we're
read the
real
new
team player.
comic, Rob?
No. I've heard good things about it. I've heard people have been finding it pretty enjoyable.
Like we could talk about that, Lucas, if you want to talk for another 30 minutes, because that Energon special came.
We already devoted 2 hours and didn't even really talk that much about the comic. So, well, I still need to get my free comic book day comic that I managed to secure a copy. So I'm excited to read that. So, all right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us, and thank you to everyone in the chat, and we will see everyone next week.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.